Good morning, guys, and happy spring. So today's video is going to be a little bit of a different format than what I'm used to. I'm going to try to film this all on my phone without any post-production editing. The reason for that is we switched to a new video editing program software that I'm having trouble getting used to. It's a learning curve for me. So anyway, I'm going to try a different type of video style today that's going to be more raw and just kind of more on my phone, more unedited. So just bear with me. So Moose and I just got back from our morning walk, and last night it got super cold. When I checked my phone, I got up this morning at 5:30. It said it was 23 degrees outside, and the wind chill was like 11 degrees or something like that. It was super windy last night. And then outside, we have a little, right outside of our camper, it's actually over here. Outside, you won't be able to see it right now, but I checked it this morning and it said it was 20 degrees. So really cold, very, very windy as well. I just came back in to thaw out my eyelashes and restoke the fire. And so this video, I wanted to, in honor of the first day of spring, share with you some of the plant starts that I've done. They're all inside here, and I'll show you here in just a minute. I'll flip the camera around. And then hopefully it'll be warming up a little bit outside, and the wind will be dying down enough that we can go outside and look and see, because I haven't been in the garden yet, and I have been planting some stuff outside. Plus, some of our fruit trees have been flowering. And last night, James, really late, he decided that he wanted to take some plastic trash bags and cover them up, because some of them have flowered. And so I'm really curious to see if that helped them, if that hurt them. And so first, I'll show you the seed trays and what I have going on inside. I've been bringing everything in at night when it gets really, really cold. When it stays like in the 40s out, I let the plants stay outside. Sometimes I'll put domes on the top. It just kind of depends on what stage they're at. But when the temperature forecast says it's going to be down to like 35 or in that range, the seed trays, I do bring them in, because maybe it says 35, but it actually gets down a lot colder. Like it can vary, 5 degrees or so, just based on our actual physical location of where we're at. So let me turn the camera around and I'm going to show you guys what I have going on right here. Let me just see if I can zoom in through this screen. I don't know if you can see it, but it looks right now it still says 20 degrees. But I do see the sun coming up, so that is very promising. All right. Just for reference, while we're looking at temperatures, it's 71 degrees inside. So much, much better in here. First, since we're already kind of in this direction, I'll show you what I've got going on top of my tall pantry. And this is where I keep my seed starts that I want to stay warm, because it's right by the wood stove and it's up nice and high where it's the warmest. So up here I have 2 trays. And these both have 24 cells in the trays. And I have all my pepper starts up here. And I started these, let me look back in my notes really quick. Okay, I'm trying to do better about writing stuff down. So I started my peppers on March 7th. And today it is the 19th. And typically in my past experience, I have planted peppers for, let's see, 1, 2, 3. So this will be my 4th year doing peppers, and this is the longest that they've taken to germinate. And I think that is one, I did an autopsy on them this morning. I kind of dug up the soil very gently just to see what was going on in there. So I think one was partly due to the fact that I haven't been keeping this area warm constantly. Like the temperatures outside prior to today have been really nice, to the point that we don't run the fire 24/7 all day and all night. So during the day up here is like maybe anywhere from 60 to 80 degrees, but not consistently hot, and then at night, you know, sometimes I'll wake up in the morning after we've let the fire die down and it's 45-50 degrees in here. So knowing that peppers like heat, I think that's just making them take a lot longer to germinate. So this morning I go every morning and just keep them moist. I water them with lately I've been doing warm water just to try to help them accelerate their germination. And so I just got really curious and was wondering, like, what's going on in there. So I actually took a chopstick and just kind of pushed the soil back so I could see. And it looks like some of them are actually starting to germinate now. So I think the warm water is helping. And then also maybe I planted them just a little bit too deep on some of them. So I just kind of moved off some of the topsoil. And so now hopefully we're kind of making a little bit more progress. And although these aren't vegetables or garden related items, they're plants that are just happy to be up here. This Christmas cactus, I want to repot it because it's actually doing really, really well. And I think it could use a little bit bigger of a pot. And then these are all the aloes that I have remaining, aside from one that is currently living at my dad's house. Now we're going to move down. And I just brought all these guys in last night. So back here, I've got cabbages. Not all of the cells germinated, but I just did 1 cabbage per cell. And then over to the right, I did 8 cells of scallions. And it looks like not all of them germinated either, but these will go back out here in just a little bit once it warms up. And they'll be much happier outside. In this tray, I have a bunch of different types of lettuces, and those will also go back outside. And this was my broccoli. It was half broccoli, half cauliflower. And I sowed this very early on. That tray of broccoli and cauliflower was sitting on top of my tall pantry up there, where the peppers are now. And they actually germinated a lot quicker than what I thought. And so during that time, I didn't check on them every single day because they had the self-watering mat and they were staying nice and moist. So I was checking on them like every other day instead. Well, they germinated, and once they germinate, they need light. They need to get to the light. And it's not the most well-lit place up there. Like it is in the morning, but not for the amount of light that they would need to really sustain themselves. So when I did actually check on them, they had gotten so leggy, like they were way too long to be viable. And so I ended up just getting rid of them. And I think what I'm going to do is, after this cold spell, which I think it's over now, I need to check the weather. I'm going to just direct sow some out into the garden. And that'll be one less thing I have to keep an eye on. So that'll be good. So all that survived in that tray was 1 cauliflower, and it doesn't look great, but I'm kind of just hanging on to it for right now just to see what it does. And then in some of those other cells, I planted some more shelling peas from the pea seeds that we saved from last year. Right here, I've got a bunch of strawberry plants that I pulled out of my strawberry bed because it is just getting totally overgrown. So I've just up-potted them in these little 4-inch pots, and I will repot them once it warms up again. And I'm trying to decide exactly where I want to put them. I think I want to put them down, some of them at least, along the edges of the driveway to work as like a type of erosion control primarily. I don't know if they will sustain that area because once summertime and all the leaves come in, it gets kind of shady down there. So this will be a little bit of an experiment. And then over here under my table, I've got another tray of some strawberry plants. And this is just the tip of the iceberg for all the strawberry plants in that bed. It just took over. I don't have a tripod or anything, so this is really amateur. But anyway, what I was saying about the strawberries, and remind me when we go outside, I'll show you the bed. But strawberries make runners, and so each strawberry plant will make a bunch of runners. And so that just means like they have arms that will reach out that root into the ground anywhere that they can touch the ground, and will actually create new strawberry plants. So I think initially in that bed I planted maybe like anywhere from 8 to 12 plants. I think it was 8. I'll have to go back and look at the footage because I didn't record anything as far as like written, which is kind of a bummer. But anyway, that whole bed, and even growing out of the bed, like into the walkways, has taken over with strawberry plants, which is awesome because now I have an abundance of strawberry plants that I can continue to spread throughout my property. And so hopefully I won't have to buy strawberry plants anymore. Okay, that was a strawberry tangent. And then in this one, I believe this one is peas. Oops, shelling peas from peas that we sowed last year. Yeah, peas. And they're just barely starting to come up, a couple of them. And this tray looks a little bit dry. So once I take all these trays back outside, I'll give them a little bit of a watering. It gets so dry in here with the wood stove. Also, these are supposed to be self-watering trays, but this one doesn't have the wicking mat underneath it, so it's not actually self-watering right now. The self-watering mat does actually help, but just another random side note, here's the domes for this tray. I don't recommend these trays just because I've had them for, this is I believe my 3rd or my 4th year using them. But like, look at this. This is just brittle. And this has gotten bent from being outside. And because, you know, like if I just set this outside, we get pretty good breezes and wind and stuff. What happened here was this blew off, even with some light weights. Like I can't put anything too heavy on it because it'll break. But even with some light weights, it still blows off because we get gusts. So what happened was this lid blew off and it hit something and it just cracked and shattered it. So, you know, that's not the best. So they're not super durable. But anyway, that's random. So these are peas. So these will go back outside as well, all these. The only thing that's going to stay inside right now is the peppers. So referring back to my notes, here's some more information on what I've done. But next I'm going to show you the celery, and I started this back on February 25th. So strawberries are down there, and up here on the table is my celery. And celery takes a very long time to germinate, and that's just part of it. But look how good they're doing. Again, not all of the cells germinated, and that's to be expected. But I think they're doing really well. They're coming along nicely. This year I did just 1 plant per cell on the celery. In years past, I have sown several seeds per cell, and then later on I separate them. But I just feel like I don't really want to spend the time to separate seeds this year. We just have so many different things going on. So that's why I just did 1 plant per cell. You can definitely do multiple plants per cell. It'll just be a little bit more work later on to separate them because these plants are so tender. You got to be really gentle with their roots. So here's an overview of what everything's looking right now this morning. And that's just how it is right now. And I'm so thankful to have all these plants. I just have to be very careful that I don't trip over them. I am so sorry, you guys. I don't know where the piece to the tripod is that I need to attach my phone to it. So I just have you kind of propped up on the counter. But anyway, let's move on. I'm going to get dressed and we're going to go back outside. And I want to show you guys around the garden a little bit. And also myself, just see like what survived. So we'll go out there and we'll take the trash bags off of the fruit trees and look at those. And then we also covered one of the beds with a tarp, which I'll explain when we get out there. So let's go. It is cold. I didn't think I was going to need this hood again. But it turns out I do. And I'm so thankful for it. Because when my neck is cold, I am freezing. So this has been such a huge blessing. So let me get my gloves, and I think I might need some scissors. I think James said he used zip ties to secure the trash bags to the fruit trees. So let me grab that, and then we'll go outside. All right, let's go. And there's little Moosey girl. How you doing this morning, Moose? Did you have a good walk this morning? You're enjoying this cold, aren't you? Say, yes, I am. Just to show you a bit of how much wind we got, this table got flipped over. Granted, there was nothing sitting on top of it to hold it down, but it was right here, and we've been using that as like a makeshift seed table / wood storage area. So I'll get that situated after we go through the garden. Toki, good morning. Good morning. How are you? Let's go in the garden. So I'll just pan through really quick and excuse my shadow. Just kind of show you what it's looking like from up here. We're still working on the garden as we go. It's just a work in progress. So let's head inside. Okay, so before I forget, we'll just go ahead and start with the strawberry bed. So here's the strawberry bed, and as you can see, we've got a 4 by, I think it's 12 feet bed here that we made our very first year when we got to this property. And as you can see, it is growing. Like, here's the border of the bed. They're just growing all the way out. These are all runners. And the strawberry in a pot, that's a runner. I didn't put that there. And this area right here is where I have been extracting those strawberry plants. And I don't even know if you can tell that I've taken any out. But I've got to go all the way in this area, and then this whole back section I still need to do. So I've got quite a bit of work ahead of me there. And here's the bed that we covered, so I'll get that uncovered really quick. And since I don't have a tripod, I will be right back. Alright, here we are. And I'm not sure if I'm going to need to cover the bed tonight or not. I don't think it's going to be that cold, but for now I'm just going to keep all my covering supplies down here. But let's see, what do we got? Looks like some of these might have got a little bit smashed. I can't tell if they're frozen or if they're smashed. Try to keep my glove out of the frame. These ones look okay. There's 2 of them there, so I need to decide if I'm going to sacrifice one to keep the other, or if I want to try to very gently pull one out and move it somewhere else. I haven't decided that yet. And here's another one, and unfortunately I didn't write down what I put where. So I don't know if these are beets or if they're Swiss chard. I guess I'll just have to wait and see once they get a little bit bigger, because at this stage I'm not really sure what they are. That could either be a golden beet or a golden colored Swiss chard. If you guys know what it is, feel free to let me know in the comments. So this is the area that we were just looking at, and then down here I put in some radishes, and those look like they're still coming up, so that's awesome. I just did a little line of them there. And I put the radishes in after the fact just because I felt like radishes are really quick. They don't take a long time to be ready, so they will have plenty of time and they won't be taking up the space for the other plants that will be here once they become fully mature, which is either beets and or Swiss chard. I think I did both, but I don't remember which one is which. Here's an example of what a more mature Swiss chard looks like, and this is a Swiss chard that I started from seed last year, and it has overwintered out here all winter uncovered. The only reason it's being covered now is because it's in here with these other seedlings, but it is doing wonderful. Fun fact, Swiss chard is a biennial, so that means it can live for 2 years before it creates seeds. So I'm really thankful for this little guy because I'm hoping to get some seeds from him this year. And that will be awesome because that will be one less seed that I will need to buy going forward. And then moving right along over here, I've got a whole bunch of tot soy. This is tot soy that I saved from a plant from last year that I grew from seed that I bought. And that is a tongue twister. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, some of it looks a little bit like it got frosty. I don't know if you can tell, but those leaves look a little bit more translucent. So they got a little bit frosty. And they also got a little bit smashed from the covering, but I think they will bounce back. At least most of them will. And then over here on the very left, I've got a small row of a mystery plant. And again, if you guys know what this is, please let me know. It is either cilantro or parsley. And at this stage, I can't really tell what it is. And these look like they got a little bit frosty. But again, I hope and I think that they will bounce back, because these actually came from the bed behind me from a plant that I let go to seed. And they started germinating way before the temperatures got warm. So they should be able to handle this cold. But I don't know what they are. It's either cilantro or it's parsley. And I know parsley can be cold hardy, but I'm not sure about cilantro right off the top of my head. So I guess that would probably help me determine what it is. And I just haven't had a minute to sit down to look at the leaf shape. So if you guys know what that is, let me know, because that would really help me out. Okay, now we're going to kind of make our way around to from where I'm standing in the back of the bed. And right here I have a sage plant that's still alive. This is a sage that I grew from a seed that I bought, and I moved it to this bed from the bed behind me sometime during the winter, and it seems like it's picking back up, so that's awesome. And then over here I have a couple of rows of some pak choi, and this pak choi looks really great. It doesn't look like it got affected by the frost at all, so I'm really thankful for that. So there's 2 rows of pak choi here that go about halfway down the bed, about to where that big Swiss chard is. And then again, when I sowed the other radish seeds, I came back and put some radish seeds right here just as an experiment. And it looks like they're coming up nicely. Just trying to put them in, you know, wherever I can find a little space here or there. That's pretty much what I've done. Okay, so here's the pak choi, and then we'll move down here, and let me get out of the way. This is spinach. So let's see if it looks okay. Honestly, spinach looks fine. Some of it looks like it might have got a little bit smushed. But I think it's 3 rows, maybe 4 of spinach. And honestly, I don't know if this is going to be enough greens. I probably will sow some more. And so this bed was kind of just like a very early, I guess not early, I guess it would be like a very late winter sowing, just to see what would tolerate, what would come up. I didn't really expect anything to happen here, so the fact that things are growing is a huge blessing. So here's the bed we were just looking at, and then we'll just briefly stop in this bed. There's just a few things going on, and then we're gonna go around here and get all the trash bags off of our fruit trees. This bed is also another experiment. Ooh, my hand's getting cold. Of wheatgrass. So I had bought some bulk wheat berries for my chickens, and also peas, and I believe oats, and I just mixed them all in here, thinking that I was going to give this to my chickens as is. There's a little piece of corn. But then I thought, what if these actually germinate and what if I can actually get more bang for my buck out of them. So that's the experiment, and that's what's going on in this bed. So let me show you really quick what's going on. The first thing that I did was I took some of the wheat berries. I just have a bag of wheat berries separate, and I sowed them in one of those 24 cell trays, like not in the actual cells part, but just the base. And I germinated that inside just to see, and it actually grew, which surprised me. I don't know if that was supposed to be surprising, but it was. It was very exciting. So once it started to grow, I just came out here and plopped it into this bed, and then just took a little bit of soil and just kind of bermed up the edges so the roots weren't exposed. And it's growing, and look at this. This is like the most beautiful lawn I've ever seen. I did give this a haircut once and gave it to the chickens, and they devoured it. They absolutely loved it. So I think I'm gonna grow wheat berries, because I have quite a bit of them just on the ground, because it grows, and I don't necessarily want to use my bed space to grow it, but if I can grow it all around my beds where the compost is kind of leaching out, you can see here, like, this is compost is leaching out, then how awesome would that be that I can grow chicken food as well. So then, since that wheatgrass was a success, I decided to go ahead, since I'm not using this bed for anything right now, and the compost is also completely exposed. I don't have any mulch. My dad is using the wood chipper right now, so I don't want to put leaves on the bed. I just don't want to do that right now. So what I decided to do was just grow chicken food in this bed and use it as a living mulch. And I didn't cover this bed last night, and as you can see, this wheatgrass looks totally fine. It's doing really well. The only thing I wish I had done is cover the seeds up a little better, because I don't know if you can see, but some of the seeds are just sitting on top of the soil. I didn't cover them up very well, and so it's not as thickly sown as I would have liked, but that's my own fault. And then over here on this side, I took what was in that pail that I just showed you of the chicken feed and sewed it down along this other part of the bed. So it looks like the peas are coming in, and the wheatgrass, and I think the oats are coming in too. So how cool is that? I'm not going to trellis these peas or anything. I'm just kind of growing them to see what they do. And then if they do decide that they want to start to like grow up like vines, I'm just going to let them just kind of grow into themselves, and then just cut them off and give them to the chickens. But like, even here's a pea that it didn't get fully covered. So I probably could have done a lot better of a job of covering them, but oh well. And then real quick, last thing in this bed is I did some winter sowing of some leeks, and it looks like some of them are coming up, so that's awesome. Alright, I had to switch hands. My hand's getting frozen. And I hope this video is not getting too long. You guys let me know if it's too long. I feel like I'm just jabbering. So here's a catnip that I grew from seed. And I have several of these in pots throughout the garden. So I have this one. And then up there, let's see, can we get to it? I have two of them that are like kind of partially buried in that mound of dirt, just to better insulate them. I don't know if that's necessary or not, but that's what I did. And they're doing great. Overall, the garlic looks really good. The ones that came up, I guess I should say. The problem that was my error was that I heavily mulched the garlic with wood chips. So much so that when this middle row of California Early was starting to germinate, it just was like the weight of it, I think, and the compaction of the wood chips, they just weren't able to push through. They were just way too deep. So that was my fault, and I lost some of my California Early. But the other garlics are doing really well. The ones that came up are doing really, really well. So there's the main bed of garlic we were just looking at, and then down here I just have a portion of this row of another variety of garlic, and it's doing really well. It looks like most of them came up. The chickens, a couple of the chickens got in here that same day that I planted them and started scratching out the cloves of garlic. So I had to go back through and try to put them back where they belong, but it looks like I've got maybe like a couple of them missing. But overall, this garlic is looking really good. Okay, and then this is my kind of wild area. So what was originally here when we got the property were the daffodils, and it looks like some of them got tipped over from the wind. But this is kind of more of just like a medicinal slash wildflower slash perennial area that I'm developing, and these rocks were already here. So I put a few strawberry plants over here last year from the strawberry bed original that I showed you previously, and as you can tell, again, the runners have just gone all over the place, which is fine. I'm not upset about it. And then also in here we have a thyme plant that's doing really well, and then behind it is a catnip. And I'm hoping, because I had calendula growing here last summer, that a lot of those seeds fell to the ground, and once it gets a little bit warmer that they will start to grow. So let's go back here to this cherry tree and we'll get uncovered. I can't even talk, my mouth is freezing. We'll get we'll get it uncovered and let's see how it looks. I keep alternating my hands and my gloves because it's just so cold. So here's the securement device, just in case you're curious of what James did. So it looks like he went around the base of the tree to the trash bags. So let me take those off and then let's see what the tree looks like. Okay, so I just stuffed the bag down in there for right now because I don't want to carry them all around, and I'll come back and get it. But here's the tree. And I'll try to zoom in. I'm on my phone. It looks like the buds are okay. It looks like it might have got a little bit smashed, but I don't think they're frozen. Do you guys cover your fruit trees when it gets really cold? Is it necessary? I don't really know the answer. But if you guys know, let us know in the comments. I'm trying to zoom in on the buds. I don't know if it's working. But this cherry tree looks pretty good in my opinion. There it is. And then down below, I put this lemon balm in the ground last fall, and it's starting to grow back. A lot of this green is fairly recently new, so that is very exciting. Did you fall over, my buddy? You are so beautiful. Alright, now we're over here at our apple tree. And I believe this apple tree is 3 years old. I could be mistaken. It might be 2 years old. But I think it's 3 years old. So let me get it uncovered. I went ahead and uncovered all three of these just while I was in a nice flow state. So here's the first tree that we were looking at. The one that I said is either 2 or 3 years old. And this is a Focus Gala apple tree. I think it looks fine. It looks great. I think again some of the buds got a little bit smushed from the bag, but it looks good. Beautiful. We got one apple from this tree last year, so I'm very hopeful. And this tree is I forget what this tree is also. This one is a pink lady, that's right. And this is a replacement tree, so it's not as far along. I believe this tree is only 1 year old, but I'd say overall it's looking really well. The buds on this one aren't as far along as on the tree we just now looked at. A little bit smaller. But again, this is a younger tree. And then lastly, we'll go over here. And this poor little cherry tree is just having the hardest time. We did amend, or James rather, amended around this tree. And I believe he has a video of that coming out. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, we did amend this tree. I believe it was a couple months ago. And so I would say it is looking better. Like it does actually have buds on it over here. I don't know if it's focusing. So there. And this branch looks healthy. And this branch looks healthy. It's got buds on it as well. But like the main trunk of this tree broke off. So overall viability of this tree, this is a pie cherry tree, is questionable, but we're hopeful. Alright, so we've got one more tree to look at, and it's over here on the other side of the driveway, and then I think I'm going to end the video after that. My hands are getting really numb, and my nose is getting runny, and I don't want this video to be too long. So if you like this video, let me know down in the comments whether you thought it was too long or not. If you want to see more about our garden, just leave it down in the comments and I will do my best to make another video. I'm not the best at filming when I'm doing actual garden work. I feel like gardening is kind of like my me time, my sanctuary time, and it's healing, and so it's just a very private, spiritual time for me. And so I haven't been the best at filming it, and so I apologize for that. But let me know if you guys like this style video, and let's go look at this one last tree. So I'll just give you a little bit of perspective. So that's where we were, just in the garden right there with the trees. And now we're over here at this tree. And this is a cocktail tree that we got last year for our wedding anniversary. And it looks like 2 of the bags already blew off. I went ahead and recovered those from the woods. So let me get this final bag off and then let's see what's going on here. And there she is. What a weird yet neat looking tree. So this tree is supposed to have nectarine, plum, and peach on it. However, it seems like the one branch that has nectarine has died. So I think what is remaining is peach and plum. So let me see if I can get a little bit closer. Okay, so these pink buds are supposed to be the peach side. And it doesn't want to focus. There we go. Whoops. So that flower looks fine. And then these ones have already opened, but they don't seem to be damaged. So if we actually get a peach on here, how awesome. That would be so amazing. And then it looks like the main portion of this tree, the part that's doing the most growth, is the plum side, which looks like it has these white flowers that haven't yet opened. So neat. And the plum is kind of reaching up there. I don't know if you can see it differentiating from the woods, but what a neat thing. Another precarious spot that I have y'all sitting, but we made it back inside. My hands are freezing, so I'm going to get warmed back up. I'm probably going to make me another cup of coffee, and then I'm going to sit down and put this video together for y'all. And again, it's going to be very minimal editing, if any, just because if I give myself too high of an expectation, then a lot of the times I just give up, and I know that's not a good trait to have. So I'm working on the perfectionist qualities and just trying to be more authentic and okay with where I'm at. And I showed you guys a lot of what's going on in the garden. We weren't able to get through everything, So hopefully we can go back through another day and look at some more. But thank you guys for tagging along with me this morning. That was really fun to go through and look. I'm really glad to see that a lot of my plants survived, or so it seems. So I'm looking forward to eating some greens. If you've never grown tatsoi before, I recommend it as a green, as an alternative to, like, I guess I would consider it like very similar to spinach, but it's like a dark leafy green. My friend Chris actually introduced it to me a few years back, and ever since then I've just been hooked. We eat it in salad, we eat it in omelets, just all kinds of ways, stir-fried. So I would recommend that if you've never tried it before. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope y'all have a blessed day, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.